It's Friday. How's everybody doing as we come to the close of week 2? I was just talking to my brother on the phone. It's like I'm viewing last week as, the shock and awe thing with all the executive orders and the pardons and all of that shit and people getting fired all over the place. This week was just incompetence. This week was just ridiculous incompetence and absurdity. I mean, we started off with that OMB memo that was going to freeze all federal grants and loans. And it was done in such a ham-handed, incompetent manner that it didn't even last 48 hours before they had to withdraw it. And then that plane crash, the midair collision, happened in Washington, D.C. A white guy flying the plane, a white guy flying the helicopter, a white guy had just gutted FAA, a white billionaire had just gotten rid of the head of the FAA, but Trump is like, it's DEI, it's DEI, it's DEI. Which is their new N-word, frankly. Just like CRT used to be. And the last couple of days, I've just been thinking about the surviving family members of the people who were killed. All those kids who were ice skaters. And, I saw a guy on CNN the night that it happened, and he was at the airport waiting to pick up his wife. And they were young and, like, in love and still had hopes and dreams and all of that shit. And he just went to pick up his wife. And then he ends up on the news. And like these family members then had to spend the rest of this week listening to the absolute bullshit coming out of our president's mouth. Blaming Obama, who hasn't been in office for almost a decade. Blaming Joe Biden, blaming DEI. As you know, our president, a former reality TV show star, hand off the mic to our new transportation secretary, who was a former reality TV show star, who then hands off the mic to our Secretary of Defense, who's a former Fox News weekend host and alleged alcoholic and rapist. I mean, I just envision these family members feeling completely alone and watching this version of our government and just be like, yeah, we're alone. Nobody's going to fucking help us from this crowd. They just want to get their digs in on DEI. Which I saw a military... I saw a TikTok from a former military pilot, who was like, when it comes to piloting these kinds of aircraft, there is no DEI. There's a set of standards, and you either pass those standards or you don't. They don't change those standards because of your race or your gender identity. He's like, you either pass or you don't. It's going to be challenging. And again, like, I recognize the level of privilege that I have in this country. A heterosexual, cisgendered white man with a law degree, single with no kids. I mean, I have every privilege this country affords, except for generational wealth. And I'm absolutely certain that has skewed my perspective on many things over the course of my life. But what I was going to say right before that is, I was like, it's just challenging to exist with so much hatred coming from our president and coming from our government and coming from half this country. And anytime I feel that, and I'm like, well, there are certain populations in this country that have been living with a version of that for 400 years. That I've never experienced. But man, it's just out in the open now. I mean, there are no more masks. They have taken off all the masks. And they're just showing us exactly who and what they are and what they demand the rest of us to be as well. So, I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm glad it's Friday. Although it's raining and it's going to rain all weekend. Cool. But, you know, last week was shock and awe, and this week was just incompetence and buffoonery, which, you know, you knew that part was going to show up sooner or later. And this week was just, you know, Trump having the microphone in the midst of an absolute national tragedy, and everybody is watching everything he's been saying, just going, are we watching the same thing? What the hell is he talking about? Is he all there? Anyway, have a good Friday, everybody, and please have a fun and safe weekend.